U din il-kanzunetta min-naħa tal-grupp Queen, Friends Will Be Friends, wasalna għal-ħin illi fih ser il-laqakom mal-mistiedna tiegħi fil-programm illum kif aċċennajt kemm il-darba aktar kmieni fil-programm. Mistiedna tiegħi illum għandi lil-Profs Vince Briffa mid-Dipartiment tal-Arti Diġitali fih dan il-Faculty of Media and Knowledge Sciences hawnhekk fl-Università ta' Malta, akkumpanjat ukoll mistieden speċjali. Mistieden speċjali kemm għall-programm tagħna kemm kif ukoll għall-Università ta' Malta, Professur Gianpiero Vincenzo mill-Akkademja di Belle Arti f'Katania. Profs Briffa ċertament m'għandu bżonn tal-ebda introduzzjoni ma' dawk li huma midħla tax-xena artistika kemm lokali, iżda wkoll Profs Briffa tul il-karriera twila tiegħu tagħna ħafna xogħlijiet li stajna mhux biss ingawduhom bħala udjenza lokali iżda wkoll udjenzi internazzjonali. Lodwa tajba. Profs Briffa nilqek bi pjaċir waqt campus breakfast. Kif inti l-ewwel nidda lodu?
Tajjeb ħafna.
Inna ħafna ma nintaw qed nieħu gost. Mamma mija kemm għadda żmien. L-aħħar li ltqajna personalment għadda ħafna u ħafna żmien laqas nista' mhux qed jirnexxieli nagħmel il-kalkolu bħalissa. Però magħna fl-istudio kif qed ukoll għandna lill-Professur Gianpiero Vincenzo mill-Akkademja di Belle Arti f'Katania, akademiku, soċjologu, kuratur tal-arti kif ukoll kittib ta' xogħlijiet li ġew tradotti f'diversi lingwi kif ukoll kittib ta' diversi screenplays. Lodwa tajba, naqleb, I have to shift.
Of course.
I have to shift. Good morning to you, Professor Vincenzo, and welcome to our show. Hope you are doing well this morning and that you're enjoying your time in Malta.
Thank you.
Before we delve into tomorrow's public lecture, because that's why you're mainly here, because tomorrow within the Faculty of Media and Knowledge Sciences at 6 in the evening, Professor Vincenzo will be delivering a public lecture, Capitalism and the Imaginary. But I think that before we discuss tomorrow's public lecture, it's good that you give us some background about your career as an academic, as a sociologist, and of course also as an art curator. We only have 5 minutes for the background, so it's not an easy job.
I don't take 5 minutes and less because I would like to speak about the future more than the past because it's very easy to go to Google and so what you did. And so yes, I'm a sociologist. I teach in 20 years ago, I arrived in Catania and I started the first chair of sociology in the Academy of Italy because it's the first of the one till now. And I started to create a method of analysis of sociology applied to the sociology of art, mainly, in the idea that the central element of the art is the symbol, and the ritual part of the art is a central way of the process of creating art. This is the idea which I elaborate in these years, and I believe that now things that 10 years ago might be very utopian, and now I believe are very useful to manage. We know that we are in a moment in which the multi-level universe are used to explain reality, and the symbol is exactly the multi-level reality that is intersecated, that is interlinked with the material reality. So I believe that now we can also see the artistic process as something much more complex and much more elaborated than before.
Vince, Professor Briffa, how did you meet? How did you come across Professor Vincenzo and his works?
Well, I was introduced to Professor Vincenzo actually by a friend and an academic, Professor Arnold Cassola. Okay. And obviously I think our first meeting was online, obviously, because it was during COVID. Exactly. So we started discussing, sort of what he does, what we do, and we realized that we have so much common ground, and obviously because of the proximity between the two islands. that we instantly said, listen, we have to do something about this. We have to see how to collaborate, find common ground, which is there already, and start building a relationship between the two institutions that would benefit both the students, but also the institutions and the research that we conduct at the two institutions. And so, therefore, in November, I was actually invited to give a talk about my work at the academia. It was a public talk, a very wonderful experience, where I actually gave a sort of a 2-hour talk of about what I do and what I don't. When I was there in Catania, we also had some meetings to see what's next. How can we go about this? We did sign an Erasmus agreement between the two institutions, both for students and for academics. And Gianpiero here is he's on the first visit to us to continue this discussion.
That's very, very interesting. Tomorrow, Professor Vincenzo will be delivering a public lecture, Capitalism and the Imaginary, tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Faculty of Media and Knowledge Sciences. Why is there the need? Why is it so important to explore and understand the link between imagery in contemporary life and the history of capitalism? How does this impact the arts in general?
Because I try to develop all the implication of the idea that a man is a symbolic animal. And this is an idea of Cassirer in the middle of the 20th century, Dutch philosopher, German philosopher, Ernst Cassirer.
Yeah.
But the idea is very simple. The rationality of mankind is in the symbolic process. And we are symbolic animals. We need to live a symbolic life. We have to give sense, a symbolic sense of our life. We are not only rational, and you know that rationalism was a great implication of our recent history, but now we understand that it's finished. You know, the idea that the man is a completely rational animal, completely linear animal is a not useful anymore. And now we have to go beyond rationalism, and it is difficult to understand what kind of mankind we can imagine without the idea of the rational mentality. Being a symbolic animal mean to give meaning to the life, a meaning that is not only material, but is a meaning that is ideal, utopian. This is symbolic. This is spiritual also, yes. And this kind of meaning we need, and we're living life looking for this meaning. And I believe that our country, Catania and the Eastern Sicily and Malta are very, very central in this process, because in this country we can understand better than in other part of the world what we mean, that we need a soul. We need to give a soul to the people. Now, without a soul, life is not the same. And we are trying to understand this better. Filming is the great chance to get a symbolic and imaginary perspective to people, but we have also to take filming in the life, and the life is a filming. You know, you can also have a symbolic process limited to a filming dimension, because without this connection to the life, also the idea of cinema is nothing. No, we have to elaborate an idea of life that is really contemporary and really ritual and symbolic.
From your end, Professor Briffa, we maybe have to add anything to add with what Professor Gianpiero just said, and why is it so important?
Yes.
Why is tomorrow's public lecture really important?
Yes. It is important because we do understand, both of us understand that we actually have the same roots. Very, very close roots, intrinsically Mediterranean, and so therefore, in the multidimensionality of the life that we're living, I mean, just imagine, we can be anywhere in the world, we can know about anything in the world, we can create images that have never been created, we can obviously give instructions for images to be created through artificial intelligence, for example. I mean, so this multidimensionality of how we're living our daily life perhaps sometimes changes us so much that we, in a sense, forget who we are and become a totally different person, you know? And so this...
And that's certainly one of the impacts capitalism is leaving on society.
Absolutely,
Am I right?
absolutely. And therefore, we need to take stock of the situation now, especially with what technology has actually done to, and is actually doing to our daily life, in order to understand what we're doing, first and foremost. We are caught in a rut many times, you know, of doing things without actually thinking. We're watching films without actually having, you know, a central idea sometimes, you know, a strong concept. I mean, you can say, you know, take this to any dimension. You can take this to the fine arts, to cinema, to life itself. So this debate, I think, is important so that we take stock of the situation and we try to start understanding how we are doing things.
Capitalism and the Imaginary Public lecture that will be delivered tomorrow at 6 in the evening by Professor Gianpiero Vincenzo here at the University of Malta within the Faculty of Media and Knowledge Sciences. Who is your target audience when you organize, when you set up this event? Who is your target audience, and is this lecture only open for university students and academics?
Oh no, Antonella, definitely not. It's open to the public. I would say that the lecture will have appeal to anyone who is interested in today's life, basically, in how, you know, how
not
we
only
create.
in the arts, but even in life.
How we live and how we create.
Definitely.
In today's life. So definitely it's open to anyone who is curious about this. And there are still places to...
Yes,
to
admission is completely free, and however, participants need to request confirmation of their seat by sending an email, right?
Sending an email, yes.
To Simone Kirkop. I'm saying the email address myself. It's simon.kirkop@um.edu.mt. Tomorrow, the public lecture Capitalism and the Imaginary, delivered by Professor Vincenzo here at the University of Malta at 6 in the evening. Professor Vincenzo, in 2021, l'Accademia di Belle Arti in Catania launched its very own film school, offering a very specialized course, I must say, in filmmaking. Can you perhaps give us a taste of what the art scene and the film industry in Catania is like? And why was there the need to launch a film school in the southern region of Italy? I read that it's almost unique from Naples down, am I right? So it's a unique course that's being offered in the southern region of Italy. And what is this course mainly focusing on?
But you know, we started with the idea that in the south of Italy, and I think also Malta, in the central Mediterranean area, filming has become one of the main objectives. There are a lot of production that started this year. For example, after the pandemic, we have really a boom of filming in Sicily, and I believe also in Malta there is the same perspective. And so the idea not only to be colonized by outside production, but also to make our own production by ourselves. And I'm very happy that because just 1 year and a half after the starting of the new courses of filming, we had already produced a docu-film on Giuseppe Giarrizzo. Giuseppe Giarrizzo is one of the main intellectuals of Catania in the south of Italy, and his idea is to fight against the prejudice about the south as a place to go outside, no? A place of only to countrymen and a place to live, and the idea that on contrary the south of Italy and Sicily especially, and I can also say Malta, as a specific intellectual and cultural central dimension for the future.
Couldn't agree more with you. It's a 3-year course you're offering, right? Within this filmmaking
It's
school.
regular bachelor courses, and next year we will also have a master class in film.
That's nice. How do you see the Department of Digital Arts collaborate with this film academy? If you are envisaging a collaboration in this sense.
Yes. There is scope for us to collaborate, both on an academic level. So just this morning we were discussing, trying to find ways of perhaps even delivering joint lectures, between the two entities. Of course, there are other ways of collaborating. So we have a very strong animation and virtual reality component within the department, which is something which complements actually filmmaking nowadays, which I feel could be very useful for the academia itself, and also obviously from our side they have lecturers and filmmakers that could definitely give their contribution to our students. So I think there's a very healthy kind of complement between the two entities. We were also talking about perhaps looking at either a summer school, a joint summer school together, and looking at what it is that's making this, this central trust, in a sense. What is the concept? What is concept in film and in moving image nowadays? And this could be a very interesting starting point, because, as I said, with the wealth of people that we have from the two entities, we could actually start informing starting a very Mediterranean dimension to the way that police do. Let's call it the moving image rather than.
I'm really happy to hear about this potential collaboration. I could feel from what Professor Vincenzo was saying about the art scene in Catania, the filmmaking industry is like in Catania, and it's very, very similar to our experience here on the island. We've been hearing a lot about the film industry in Malta, but we have to invest a lot in our own filmmaking. So this is definitely a brilliant project between the two entities, and I wish you all the very best. For those of you who would like to read more from Professor Vincenzo's publications, you have various publications, but it's good that you tell us maybe what were, so far to date, your main research areas, and obviously our listeners can also look up your publications. You have also e-books available, which they can also read.
There is an English publication that is a New Ritual Society that is available also for English reader, that is based on the idea that consumerism is a ritual, that create a new ritual society, because capitalism and consumerism are strictly connected. Definitely. Very soon they discovered the fact that man is a symbolic animal, and they create a new symbolic order, new ritual order around the commercial, not the consumerism of the commercial object. And so I believe that we can also recover the idea that we can also use not consumerist culture, for example, and filming is really very interesting in this. Look at the Northern tradition, the Walhalla tradition.
Yes.
How many films about Walhalla tradition we saw in these years? I think hundreds and hundreds of films about the Walhalla tradition and Vikings and so on. But you know that the oldest Greek novel is a place in Syracuse.
Yeah.
You know that our region.
I never visited Syracuse. I have to. I know it's a must.
It's a must. Yeah.
And I want also to go to the Hypogem site here, because I believe that we have to rediscover also our tradition, our culture, our past, to create new filming. Why not?
To inform new filming, the sensibility of.
We're nearing the end, but I'd like to hear, I'd like you to invite those really interested in learning more about life, about arts. Obviously, your invite for tomorrow's public lecture. Let's start off with you, Professor Briffa.
Yes, definitely. I think tomorrow's talk will be an eye-opener in the sense that we start to understand that there's a lot that we can invest in, that we can look at, that we can create, just by looking at our own history, at our own location. I'm not saying just that we recreate historical films. What I'm saying is that we use our sensibility in order to create new ideas, who we are today, and I think this will come out in tomorrow's talk.
Definitely, and from your end, Professor Vincenzo, your invite. To
I invite you all because I believe that our main problem is now to change mind from a mentality of as a spectators to a mentality as creative. I believe that this is the main problem that we have to face with our students, with our young people, to change this kind of mentality. Now I believe that creativity is one of the main problems, and I believe that it really is a political project, because our society needs creatives.
Yes.
Without creatives, there is no politics, there is no public life.
Mm-hmm.
Life gets boring, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
And from this interview, which is already thought-provoking, I'm pretty sure that tomorrow's public lecture will be a great success. And I urge my listeners, those of you who'd like to listen more from Professor Vincenzo, to register their interest, to express their interest by sending an email to Miss Simone Kirkop on this email address, simon.kirkop@um.edu.mt. The public lecture, Capitalism and the Imaginary, is happening here tomorrow at 6 in the evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Professor
Thank you.
Briffa, thank you.
Thank
Professor
you very much.
Vincenzo, I wish you the best of luck, not only for tomorrow's public lecture,
Yes.
but also for this collaboration, which is really, really exciting
Seriously.
for Catania and obviously the Maltese community. Thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.